There's a plant in the darkest corner of your home, the one nowhere near a window, the spot where you were sure nothing could survive, and it's still alive. Still green, still holding on, months after you assumed it would have given up. You probably think it's just a tough plant getting by on very little. The truth is far stranger. That plant in the dark isn't barely surviving. It's running an extraordinary set of survival programs, measuring the light, rationing its energy, even changing its own body to chase the few photons it can find. It is doing things in that dark corner that no animal could do, and once you understand what they are, you'll stop seeing a struggling plant and start seeing one of the most sophisticated survivors in your home. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to read what your low-light plant is telling you, and the fifth thing it does is so strange that it changes how you should think about every plant you own that isn't doing well. Let's start with how it even knows how dark it is. Your plant in the corner isn't guessing how much light it gets. It's running a laboratory-grade experiment every second of the day. Hidden inside every leaf is a molecular switchboard called phytochrome, acting like a living light meter. This system doesn't just sense brightness, it reads the color of light itself, separating red from far red with astonishing precision. Red light, peaking at about 660 nanometers, flips the phytochrome into its active form, telling seeds to sprout and leaves to grow. But hit it with far red light, around 730 nanometers, and the switch flips back, halting those same processes. The last color the plant detects decides whether it's time to get moving or stay put. Back in the 1950s, scientists at the U.S. Department of Agriculture cracked this code with lettuce seeds. They found that a single burst of red light could trigger germination, but if far red followed, the process stopped cold. The effect was so sharp it worked like an on-off switch, all controlled by which color came last. Your houseplant uses the same system, not just to sprout, but to judge its odds in a dim room. It's not fooled by your eyes or by a quick glance at the clock. It's measuring the ratio of red to far red in every photon that lands on its leaves. Typical indoor light, even in a dark corner, has a red to far red ratio over 1.8, much higher than the deep shade of a forest floor, where the ratio can drop below 0.7. This tells the plant exactly how much competition it faces, and whether it's under a bright sky or buried beneath layers of leaves. And while you can buy phone apps that claim to measure light, their error rates can hit 90%. Your plant's built-in meter is far more accurate, running measurements day and night for free. Every leaf is a sensor, tuned to the invisible signals that shape its survival plan. Once your plant has gathered the light data, it faces a choice. It must fight for more or settle in for the long haul. This is not random. It's a calculated move, visible right on the stem and leaves if you know what to look for. Some plants are fighters. They launch what amounts to an escape sprint, stretching their stems in search of a brighter patch. You will spot this by the long, pale gaps between leaves. Those are called internodes. If the plant's leaves seem far apart, and the color has faded to a tired yellow-green, you are looking at a classic case of shade avoidance. The plant is gambling everything on reaching more light, even if it means growing weak and spindly along the way. Other plants take the endurer's path. Instead of stretching, they hunker down. Their leaves stay close together, building up chlorophyll like a solar panel designed for a cloudy day. These leaves turn a deep, rich green and cluster tightly along the stem. The plant's shape becomes compact, almost stubborn in its refusal to budge. This is not a plant giving up. It is a plant switching to a high-efficiency mode, making the most of every photon that filters in. You can use this as a diagnostic rule the next time you check your own plants. Pale, stretched, and gappy, that plant is a fighter, and it is telling you it needs a better spot. Thick, dark, and compact, you have got an endurer, quietly optimizing for low light. This visible strategy is not just about looks. It is real-time evidence of the plant's survival program in action, a living record of the decision it made in the dark. A plant in the darkest corner doesn't just sit and wait, it gets to work, rebuilding itself from the inside out. The classic shade survivor doesn't waste time stretching for a window it will never reach. Instead, it remodels every leaf, crafting them wider and thinner, like flexible solar panels designed for the faintest glimmer of light. Each leaf spreads out, flattening its surface to catch every stray photon that drifts through the room. The color deepens, shifting to a rich, almost blue-green. That is not a sign of stress. It is the mark of high chlorophyll density, a chemical upgrade that lets the plant squeeze more energy from weaker rays. Spacing shrinks too. Leaves cluster tight along the stem, minimizing wasted space and maximizing the surface area exposed to whatever light is available. The angles change, tilting upward or outward depending on where the faintest glow comes from. Even the veins inside each leaf rearrange, bringing water and nutrients right to the spots where photosynthesis still happens. What looks like a stubborn, slow-growing plant is actually a master engineer, customizing its own architecture for maximum efficiency in low light. This compact, dark-leafed form is a living blueprint for survival, not a sign of defeat. In the darkest corner, your plant doesn't just slow down, it slams the brakes on water use. With so little light hitting those leaves, the stomata, the tiny pores that let water escape, snap shut for most of the day. This isn't just a minor adjustment. Scientific studies show that when light drops below about 10 micromoles per square meter per second, transpiration can fall by half compared to a bright room. That means the soil stays wet much longer, and the plant barely sips from its roots. Here is where most people trip up. They keep watering on autopilot, not realizing the plant's needs have changed. Overwatering becomes the real threat, not darkness. Roots sitting in soggy soil can't breathe. Oxygen disappears, and soon, the plant's immune system is overwhelmed. Root rot sets in, with yellow leaves, mushy stems, and a once healthy plant collapsing from the ground up. Horticulturists have a simple rule. Before you water, stick your finger or a wooden skewer about 2 to 3 centimeters into the soil. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. If it's still damp, wait. This is the single most reliable test, far better than any schedule. In dim light, you might go 10 days, 2 weeks, even longer between waterings. The plant's survival mode is all about rationing. Less light means less water, always. Ignore this, and you're not just drowning the roots, you're short-circuiting the plant's entire low-power strategy. A plant in the dark needs patience, not pity. Some plants have a final trick for surviving in the dark. They live off their own savings. When the last photon fades, your plant doesn't give up. It raids its pantry. Inside every stem and root, there's a stash of carbohydrates, mostly starch, built up during brighter days. This isn't just a backup plan, it's a calculated move. The plant slows its metabolism to a crawl, burning through those reserves at a rate that buys time, sometimes days, sometimes weeks depending on the size of its stores. The ZZ plant, famous among houseplant enthusiasts, has been known to survive up to 4 weeks in near darkness by drawing on these hidden resources. Once light returns, a patient plant can bounce back, pushing out new shoots as if nothing happened. It is the botanical version of hibernation, a slow, silent wait for better conditions. If you've ever moved a wilted plant back into the sun and watched it revive, you've seen this pantry strategy in action. As one plant physiologist puts it, what looks like dormancy is actually a race against the clock, fueled by energy the plant set aside for exactly this moment. Subscribe for more science-backed secrets hiding in the corners of your home. Right now, that plant in your darkest corner is not just hanging on, it's running a silent, science-powered survival program. While you debate sunlight, it weighs every photon, chooses its next move, and waits for the world to change. Your room is its universe. Subscribe for more science that changes perspective.